Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be ranking all of the makeup that I tried in the month of June. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Okay, so I tried out 12 new products in the month of June. I still feel like I'm forgetting something, but if I am, I will just include it in my rankings for the end of July. But let's just hop into today's speed reviews. Coming in at number 12 is from Gucci, and this is the Eternité de Beauté 24-hour breathable foundation with a luminous matte finish. So this is one I tried in a sample size, and I have the shade 120N. This product retails for $88 Canadian, and I really did like it. It is a very full coverage foundation though, so if you do not like full coverage, you would not like this. I often do enjoy a little bit more coverage, but sometimes, lately in particular, when my skin is behaving, I really do prefer more of a skin tint type product. So it really just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. I did find this really comfortable. It didn't cling to dry patches. It didn't break apart awkwardly on my skin. It really did stick around all day and kept looking really, really nice. My main complaint about this one, aside from the price, is the shade. It is 120N, like I mentioned, so it is supposed to be a neutral shade, but it was incredibly yellow on my skin, so I took off major points for that. Otherwise, I liked it, but I won't be purchasing the full size because the shade and the price. Coming in at number 11 is a palette I was actually very, very excited about when it launched, and this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cosmos palette. So I was actually going to do a multiple looks one palette with this one. I haven't filmed it yet. If you're interested, please let me know. I just felt like for the most part, I have a lot of these in my collection already. While I think this is very, very beautiful, I think the shimmers are the only thing that really made this palette unique. Otherwise, it was just very neutral, which is fine. That doesn't bother me. I think it's really, really beautiful. But again, you're getting the same mattes you get in all of their palettes essentially. And you can probably find some of these shades elsewhere in your collection. They're just not as special as they might look on first glance. So for that reason, I did rank this one a little bit lower. I still think the formula is great. I think the palette's really pretty. I'm definitely going to get use out of it. I also don't recommend ordering this online because so many people had theirs broken. I was very lucky, but a lot of people had theirs broken. So I would just keep that in mind. If you want it, maybe wait for the Sephora sale even and grab it in store, something like that. I think it's pretty. I just don't think it's worth paying full price for, especially given that half the palette are shades that we already have. That's all. Overall, the quality is great and it is very pretty. Coming in at number 10 is from Pat McGrath, and this is the Divine Blush Legendary Glow Balm in the shade Divine Rose. So this is her new blush stick. So this is very, very pretty. It is definitely a very balmy product. I will say the component feels very, very lightweight. It's not really what I expected from Pat McGrath. I do think this retails for $29 US, so definitely a little more affordable for her brand, but the thing is that it does feel very inexpensive. The packaging is really pretty. It's just very, very lightweight. If you don't like balmy products, you won't like this, but if you are looking for a more cream blushes that are a little bit more sheer to buildable, I think you might really enjoy this. I found the best way to apply this is with a brush, taking it directly off the stick. I tried it with a finger. I can't stand doing my makeup with a finger. I will do shimmer eyeshadows with my fingers, but I will not do anything else with fingers. I just hate it. So I didn't like that method. I found the sponge just completely soaked up the product, but using a brush really was the best of both worlds. It got the pigment, it blended things out, but it didn't make it overly pigmented. So I do think that is the best method. I originally wanted to pick up one of the peachy ones, but I ended up grabbing this in a bundle with the eye quad that she released at the same time. So for that reason, I like this. I think it's nice. I would not purchase more shades. Again, I do just prefer powders in general, but I do have a very favorite cream blush formula right now, and it's just not this. So this one is number 10. It's good. It's just not amazing. Okay, and coming in at number 9 is actually the counterpart to the blush. This was released at the same time. This is the Luxe Eyeshadow Quad in Passion Fleur. So again, I love this pink packaging. I think it's beautiful. The quad itself, also very beautiful. What I don't love is that there is just the one matte, and then this kind of light pinky shade is very, very pretty. This shade here on the bottom, Sienna Moonlight, is the most special of the whole palette. It's very beautiful, very metallic, very reflective. But this reminded me so much of a palette that she had come out with in the past, the Rose Decadence palette. And I believe I actually compared them in my initial review. I think this is very, very pretty. It's just because it only has the one matte, I do feel like I need to dip into other palettes, which for me usually takes away from a palette a little bit. I wish there was maybe another matte instead of this Rose Fire Glow shade, or even maybe the light pink shade. I think another matte would have done this palette a lot more justice. I think it's beautiful. It's just, again, it's really not different from anything she's released before. And additionally, I think we could have used another matte. Coming in at number 8 is from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Airbrush Flawless Lip Blur. I had the shade Pillow Talk Blur, so she released these. There's quite a few shades of this, and what this is a liquid lipstick. You can see from the back of my hand, it is a very pigmented shade. You can wear this as an opaque liquid lipstick, or you can wear it blotted out and blurred, which is really, really pretty. I do think this is beautiful. I think the shade is beautiful. It is incredibly comfortable on the lips. It doesn't feel drying or anything like that. But I will say this is also not transfer proof, which is interesting. So maybe why it's so comfortable is because it does not fully dry down. It's not transfer proof, and it definitely doesn't last all day like any other liquid lipstick. So I would recommend, if you're going to wear this, I would put a lip liner down all over the lips first, and then this one, I actually did that yesterday to test out this theory, and I used the Pillow Talk lip liner all over my lips and filled them in, and then I put this on top. It did extend the wear by a ton, but wearing this on its own, it is not transfer proof, and it really doesn't seem to fully dry down. So I would just say that I think this is very, very pretty. It is very pricey. It is Charlotte Tilbury. I think it's beautiful. It's a very, very comfortable formula. It's just if you're looking for something that is budge proof, this won't be for you. Coming in at number 7 is from LYS, and this is their Lash Confidence Mascara. So this one I really do like. This has a huge curved applicator. Like, this is really big. And the packaging is their standard triangular packaging. I think it's very, very pretty. And this really does curl the lashes. It keeps them curled. It really gives some of that drama. I find it focuses a lot more on length than volume. But what I want to mention is that this is a very wet formula. So if you don't like wet formulas, I would probably pass on this. But this is one that I opened, I used, I really liked, but I also don't love a more wet formula. So I just waited a few weeks for it to dry down a little bit, and now I seem to like it a lot more. So I would recommend that. If you're someone who really, really hates a super wet formula, I would recommend that little trick as well. I do really, really like this. It's not up there with my Rare Beauty or my Ilia or the L'Oreal Lash Paradise, but it is a very good formula, and I'm not sorry I tried it out. I really do like it. Coming in at number 6 is the most recent product I tried out. Since I tried it out, I've been wearing it so much since. This is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint. This is so good. I have the shade 2. I do have a full review up on this product as well, and I love this. It is a very light coverage. It is a skin tint, but this is probably one of the best skin tints I have ever tried out. Typically, I really just love a good medium coverage foundation. Like I mentioned, I've been enjoying more lighter coverage as we're getting into the summer and when my skin is behaving. So I decided to try this out. I've been kind of starting to dip my toes into Danessa Myricks products. Like I mentioned, this is a very light coverage, but it blended out so quickly, so easily. It blended right into my skin and gave my skin the best luminosity to it. I just thought it was so, so pretty. The luminosity that it left on my skin reminded me a little bit of the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation that you know is my holy grail foundation. It reminded me a lot of that, just with less coverage. So I really, really liked that. I will say, if you don't powder this, it does have a certain tack to it. That will wear off after a few hours, but if you don't powder this, it's not going to last a full 12-hour day. I found around the 8-hour mark is when this kind of started disappearing when I didn't powder it. So I would just mention that. But otherwise, I've really been loving this. I absolutely think this one is worth a splurge if you're looking into testing out a good skin tint. All right, getting into the top 5 from Natasha Denona. She released some new shades of her I Need a Nude lip crayon, and I picked up the shade Gaia. So this is really pretty. This is kind of like just a pinky lip liner. Really, really pretty. I love her lip liner formula. It just looks so beautiful, so easy to wear, so easy to reach for every day. I have absolutely no complaints about this. There's just been some really incredible products that I also tried out this month that rank a little bit higher. Otherwise, I love it. I love her lip liner formula so much. Coming in at number 4 is a product that was actually sent to me, and this is from Alter Ego, and this is their Midsummer palette. So I am still trying to get around to testing out the Coastal palette, but I love the Midsummer. So I do have a full video up comparing this one to the Anastasia Nouveau palette, and I actually liked this one more. First of all, the layout of this one, it's so much more easy for me to figure out what to do. They're pretty much the exact same color story, and this one is so much easier for me to pull a look together. So I will say that. The layout, 10 out of 10, so much better than Nouveau. The shades in this palette are a little bit more neutral than Nouveau and a little bit lighter on pigment, so they're just more buildable. The shimmers are so shiny and beautiful. Again, it's not as warm tone, but that's fine with me. That doesn't bother me, and it doesn't bother me either that I've got to build the shades a little bit more. I think Alter Ego did an amazing job with this one. Again, it's very affordable, and I like it better than the Nouveau palette. It's the layout, it's the tone of the shades. I also thought the shimmers were a little bit smoother. That was another thing I wanted to mention. I just really, really enjoy this palette. I'm definitely going to keep using it and enjoying it. Nouveau is a great palette. Something about this one calls me a little bit more. Coming in at number 3 is from Natasha Denona, and this is her new Yucca palette. So I have a full review of this one as well as a 3 looks, 1 palette video, and I love this. So if you don't like yellows and greens, pass on this palette. But if you do, I love this palette. My one complaint is that a lot of the looks can sometimes tend to look similar because it is a very green-based palette, but they are so beautiful. The sparkling foiled formula she has in here, which is Plantasia, Kohlrabi, Makaya, and I think Elysian as well. They are some of the most sparkly formulas in my entire collection. I love them so much. They're so beautiful. They're so incredibly reflective on the eyes. They're so reflective that this regular metallic in here, which would be considered beautiful metallic shimmer in any other light, looks so lackluster compared to these because they're so gorgeous. I think she did a great job. Her mattes are her standard phenomenal quality. Everything about this I just love. I don't always go for these greens, but I do think this will be great for the summer as well as into fall. This is definitely going to be in my must reach for fall palettes this year, and I love that I have a new greeny based palette to add in there, but I've been absolutely loving this. Coming in at number 2 is my new favorite eyeshadow base, and this is also from Alter Ego, and this is just called the Eyeshadow base. I love this. This has a doe foot, which I really, really love, and an eye primer. This really helps my eyeshadows last all day long. I've mentioned this before, but I have very oily lids, so if I do not prime, my shadows aren't going to last very long at all. I really like the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I'm a big fan of the Milani eyeshadow primer. The thing with the Milani is that it comes in a squeeze tube rather than a doe foot. I do prefer the doe foot. I just think it's easier to work with. I have been absolutely loving this. It really does make my shadows last all day, and it makes them look so smooth, and it's so affordable. So I think they did a fabulous job with this as well. And my number 1 product in the month of June has been the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. So I was going to review this when it first came out, but her new releases are no longer coming to Sephora Canada, so my only choice is to either order from her website or from Beautylish. Beautylish takes forever to get here. Natasha's website is very, very fast. The thing is, she changed at least her international carrier. So it used to be FedEx, and then I would get dinged at the border with duties. Now she has since switched to DHL for Canada, and I no longer get dinged at the border for duties. But the upfront shipping cost on her website is bananas. So the original cost of the product is higher and the shipping cost is higher. I didn't want to pay $26 for shipping. So I ordered from Beautylish to get free shipping, and they sent me something completely different. And when I wrote to them, they were absolutely wonderful to deal with, but it was sold out in my shade. So I waited till the Yucca palette was released, and then I ordered that, the lip liner I mentioned earlier, and the concealer all at the same time to make that shipping cost worth it. And after that long saga, I found my new favorite concealer. I have been absolutely loving this. I do have the shade N1. I felt like I needed a science degree to figure out my shade. I will say that is very confusing. I love that this has this beautiful soft touch matte lid here. I like the shape of the doe foot. I do think it's a little bit large, but this concealer is so beautiful. It is so hydrating. It blends out so quickly. And while I think all concealers crease, this one probably does it less than any other concealer in my collection. And I love it so much. I love the coverage it gives. I love how quickly it blends out. And I love how if I forget to set it, it's not really a big deal. I've been absolutely diehard loving this concealer. This is the only one I've been reaching for. Thank goodness I don't have one in my project pan right now because it would be completely ignored. I absolutely love this concealer. So it was worth the whole saga it took to actually get it, but I love it. And that is it. Those are all of the products that I tried in the month of June. Let me know down below what your favorite product you tried out in the month of June was. Did you try out any of these? Let me know. I love hearing from you guys so much. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!